Ekachakra found Baka's dead body. They were astonished to see it lying there in a twisted mess, its mouth and eyes wide open. The citizens' hair stood on end, and their mouths fell open in amazement. Thousands of people gathered, all asking who had killed him. Gradually, they realized that it had been the Brahmin's turn to take food to the demon the previous night. A noisy crowd soon gathered outside the Brahmin house, and while the Pandavas remained inside, the Brahmin spoke to the people. Yesterday, okay, sorry. Yesterday as I sat by the roadside weeping at the thought of mine and my family's plight, a Brahmin came by, and when he found out the cause of my distress, he promised to deliver me and the town from this constant danger. Learned in the incantations that invoke celestial weapons, the Brahmin assured me that he would take the food to Baka on my behalf and kill him. He must have been successful at this inconceivable feat because Baka now lies dead. The people looked at one another in wonder. Then they laughed and shouted in joy. They declared a festival to the Rakshasa's death. The Pandavas continued to live at the Brahmin's house as Vyasadeva had instructed them. It had been months since the sage had last spoken with them. They expected his return at any time, and they passed their days in begging alms and studying the Vedic scriptures. One day, a wandering ascetic came to the Brahmin's house and accepted his invitation to stay for a few days. After he had been duly worshipped and fed by the Brahmin and his family, the ascetic told stories from his travel. The Pandavas listened along with the Brahmin's family. They heard about a great Swamvara ceremony soon to be held in Kampilya for Draupadi, King Draupadi's daughters. This princess, the ascetic said, was not born of a woman, but had been born along with her brother Drishtadum from the sacrificial fire. The Pandavas were intrigued. They asked, "Please tell us how it is possible that Draupadi and her brother could appear from the fire. We desire to hear everything you know." The ascetic first told them about Drona. The sage Bharadwaj had once seen Gritachi, a divinely beautiful apsara, and as a result, he had dropped his vital seed. He caught his seed in a pot, and from that seed, Drona was born. Okay, Gritachi, a divinely beautiful apsara, and has resulted. Okay, a child Drona had been friends with Drupada, who had come to study at Bharadwaj Hermitage. Sometime after Drupad left the hermitage, Drona heard that invincible Brahmin warrior Parshuram was retiring to the forest and was giving away all his possessions. Drona approached him and asked for charity. Parshuram replied, "Having once won this wide earth from the ruling class, I am now without wealth. I have already given it to the Brahmins. I possess only my body and my weapons. Which of these would you prefer, O Brahmin?" Drona asked Parshuram for his celestial weapons, along with the knowledge to use them. The Rishi bestowed his weapons from upon Drona, who then left to again see his friends Drupada. Okay, by then Drupada had become the king of Panchala. The Pandavas listened as the ascetic told them what they had already heard from Drona himself. How Draupad has had insulted his friends most terribly, not knowing that it was the Pandavas who were listening. The ascetic told them how Drupada had then been overpowered by the Pandavas at Drona's command. After being humiliated by Drona and losing half his kingdom, Draupad thought only of revenge. He knew he could never defeat Drona in battle. So he had gone to the forest to seek out a powerful Brahmin. He knew that only Brahmin's spiritual power could match Drona's strength. तो ये पांडवास को ही वो सेम स्टोरी वो सुना रहा है जो पांडवस ने ही क्रिएट की है एक्चुअली. आफ्टर सम टाइम द्रुपद केम अक्रॉस टू ब्राह्मण ब्रदर्स named Yaj and Upayaja, descendant of Kashyap. Okay, so they are coming from Kashyap lineage, a powerful son of Brahma. The king worshipped and served the two Brahmins for some time, then asked for their assistance. He approached the younger of the two, Upayaja, first, knowing him to be the more powerful. Drupada asked him to conduct a sacrifice that would give the king a son capable of killing Drona. Drupada offered him 10,000 cows as payment, but the Brahmin replied, I shall not perform any act directed towards material gain, either for myself or for another. So here we can see one point, we can see कि जो द्रुपद हैं उनको एक लड़का चाहिए, एक पुत्र चाहिए जो किसको किल कर सके. कोई बताया किसको किल करने के लिए मांग रहे हैं द्रुपद.
द्रोणाचार्य.
हाँ, तो द्रोणाचार्य को मारने के लिए उनको एक सन चाहिए. तो उन्होंने किसको अप्रोच किया, यज और उपयज, क्योंकि उनको कोई और सन था नहीं और उनको ऐसा सन चाहिए था जो द्रोण द्रोण को मार सके, क्योंकि द्रोणाचार्य के पास इतना स्ट्रेंथ है कि एक तो उन्होंने अपने फादर से सीखा है. उनके फादर का नाम क्या बताया, भरद्वाज.
भरद्वाज.
उन्होंने शिक्षा ली है और द्रुपद ने भी उनसे शिक्षा. लेकिन द्रोण के पास क्या है, द्रोणाचार्य के पास क्या है कि उनको उन्होंने परशुराम जी से भी उनके वेपन्स ले लिए, उनके वेपन्स को चलाने की पूरी विधि भी सीख ली. तो जब परशुराम जी जा रहे थे तो उन्होंने रिटायरमेंट ले लिया था, उसके बाद वो फाइट नहीं कर रहे थे. ऐसा हम शायद आगे पढ़ेंगे. और तो उनसे इन्होंने क्या ले लिया, उन्होंने उनसे भिक्षा मांगा और उन्होंने उनको सारे शस्त्र दे दिए. तो इसलिए द्रोणाचार्य जो है वो ज़्यादा पावरफुल है और द्रोणाचार्य को मारना आसान नहीं है फिर. और ऑब्वियसली वी नो कि द्रोणाचार्य ने पांडवस को सिखाया है और उसमें से अर्जुन को सिखाया, अर्जुन ने ही द्रुपद को हराया था. और तो यहाँ पर जो है ये हो रहा है. और अब द्रुपद क्या कर रहा है कि वो ये यज्ञ करा रहा है. ये दो ऋषिज को उसने अप्रोच किया है, दो ब्राह्मण्स को. अब लेकिन उसका जो अप्रोच है आप वो देखें कि यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है कि उन्होंने पहले उनको सर्व किया एंड वर्शिप देम. आफ्टर सर्विंग देम देन ही आस्क्ड फॉर हिज डिजायर. तो एटलीस्ट हमको well, this is the basic etiquettes, and that we should first, although he is a king and he's like respecting these brahmanas, and he's asking for the, although his intention is not very good, like he's serving with some material desire, but this is the basic etiquette, like he should first serve then ask for anything. Okay. Drupada asked him to conduct a sacrifice that would give the king's son capable of killing Drona, and Drupada offered him 10,000 cows as payment. Okay, he's going to give payment. Okay. But the Brahmins replied, I shall not perform any act direct towards material gain. Okay. So see, he's not giving him either for myself or for another. That disappointed Drupada. So he's trying to buy them by giving cows and serving and all, but they were not like false Brahmins. So they said, we will not do. So the disappointed Drupada continued serving Upayaja in the hope that he might relent. Finally, after a full year had passed, the Brahmin took pity on him and said, I once saw my elder brother take up and eat a fruit from the ground without considering whether or not it was clean. When we were both boys studying in our guru's house, I often saw him eat the remnants of other people's food. One who has no regard for purity in one thing will not have such regard in another. Therefore, approach him, for he will surely perform your sacrifice. Okay. So, what is the meaning of this line? One who has no regard for purity in one thing will not have such regard in another.
So that indicates cleanliness of the heart also. There is no honesty or something like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, who elder brother? Yaja or Upayaja? Okay, he was more powerful. So that's why he asked to Upayaja. So Upayaja was the younger one and elder was Yaja. तो यहाँ पर वो बोल रहे हैं कि ये जब कोई फ्रूट खाते थे ग्राउंड से उठाकर तो ये चेक नहीं करते थे कि ये क्लीन है या नहीं है या ऐसे ही है मतलब कंटेमिनेटेड है या नहीं, तो कुछ भी खा लेते थे और बोल रहे हैं कि किसी का भी रिमेनेंट्स खा लेते, किसी का झूठा खा लेते, तो ये कंसीडर ही नहीं करते थे कि कि कौन ये फूड प्योर भी है या नहीं, किसका रिमेनेंट्स। तो हमारे लिए मतलब ये यहाँ पर एक पॉइंट है हमारे लिए वैष्णव आल्सो कि हम भी रिमेनेंट्स हर किसी का नहीं खाते हैं। ओके, मतलब हम खाते हैं कुछ लोगों का, तो जनरली हमको झूठा नहीं खाना चाहिए, किसी का भी झूठा नहीं खाना चाहिए। इसमें थोड़ा सा कंसीडर करना चाहिए क्योंकि झूठा खाने से आपके अंदर उसके गुण आ सकते हैं और उसके उसकी जो भी क्वालिटीज़ हैं अब वो बैड भी हो सकती हैं, गुड भी हो सकती हैं, तो वो आपके अंदर आ सकती हैं और जब तक आप श्योर नहीं हैं तब तक आपको किसी का रेमेडी नहीं खाना चाहिए। तो हम मतलब इवन अगर आप किसी डिवोटी है, कोई बहुत अच्छा डिवोटी लग रहा है आपको, तो भी आप थोड़ा केयरफुल रहें कि आप रेमिनेंट्स किसका खा रहे हैं। जैसे अद्वैत हरि प्रभु को मैंने एक बार पूछा था ये क्वेश्चन, आई थिंक उन्होंने भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर का, मुझे याद नहीं एग्जैक्टली, बट उन्होंने ये कहा था कि आप जिसके घर में कुत्ता बन सकते हैं, करने बनने के लिए तैयार हैं, उसका आप झूठा खा सकते हैं, जिसके लिए आप इवन यू आर रेडी टू बिकम अ डॉग। पता नहीं, आई डोंट नो बट ही सेड समथिंग लाइक आई डोंट नो, मतलब मुझे एग्जैक्ट याद नहीं, बट मतलब ये था कि बहुत ज्यादा सीरियसली यू हैव टू सी कि वो सच में आप उनका झूठा खाने के लिए तैयार हो क्या, क्योंकि उनके गुण लेने के लिए तैयार हो क्या। तो हम लोग उच्चिष्ट खाते हैं, लेकिन किसका खाते हैं जो बहुत ही प्योर सोल होते हैं, जैसे प्रभुपाद हैं या कोई सन्यासी हैं जो बहुत ज़्यादा एलिवेटेड, इवन सन्यासी इसमें भी यू यू हैव टू सी कि जब तक फेथ नहीं है, जब तक पूरा आपके अंदर समर्पण नहीं है, देन बी केयरफुल। या किसी भी डिवोटीज का, तो आपस में तो बिल्कुल नहीं खाना है, किसी का भी झूठा नहीं खाना चाहिए और हमेशा अपने से ऊपर वाले का हम झूठा खाते हैं, लेकिन वो भी बहुत एलिवेटेड पर्सन होते हैं। तो यहाँ पर वो बोल रहे हैं कि ये खा लेते थे, तो मे बी अब वो कह रहे हैं कि ठीक है मैं तो नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन तुम किसी मेरे भाई को अप्रोच कर लो क्योंकि वो किसी चीज में वो नहीं करता, एटलीस्ट उसने उन्होंने इतनी उनकी सेवा की उपयोजित की, तो एटलीस्ट उन्होंने इतना मतलब उनको गाइड कर दिया कि ओके ठीक है, अब तुम, मैं तो नहीं करूंगा लेकिन मैं इतना गाइड कर देता हूँ कि तुम यहाँ जाकर, एटलीस्ट उन्होंने ये हेल्प कर दी उसको, उनको उनको थोड़ा सा गाइडेंस दे दिया यहाँ पर, मुझे लगा कि तुम उसको अप्रोच करो, ही विल डेफिनेटली। So the Brahmin's words proved true and Yaja agreed to Drupada proposal. The Brahmins, realizing what difficult a task the king had requested, engaged his younger brother to assist him. Although Upayaja had no personal desire to perform Drupada's sacrifice, he could not refuse his elder brother's request. तो अब यहाँ पर लेकिन उपयज फिर फंस गए हैं, अब उपयज को करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि अब उनके बड़े भाई ने उनको बोला है। So thus the two Brahmins went to Kampilya to perform a fire sacrifice intended to propitiate the gods headed by Lord Vishnu. Thus, Drupada would be able to get a son capable of killing Drona. Okay. As the sacrifice commenced, the king again spoke with Yaja, remembering the day he had been overpowered by Arjuna. He asked the priest if, as well as son, he might obtain a beautiful daughter whom he could offer to Arjuna as his wife. Drupada thought that if Arjuna became his son in law, his happiness would be complete. Okay, Yaja replied, "It shall be so." And Drupada joyfully sat down by the sacrificial fire with his queen. As the ritual neared completion, Yajav called for Drupada's wife, "Come quickly, O queen, a son and daughter have now come for you." A queen replied, "O Brahman, I am not pure. My month is filled with saffron, and my mouth is filled with saffron, and my body is smeared with perfume. I am not ready to receive the sacrificial ghee." Yaja replied, "Whether or not you are ready, the object of this sacrifice which I have prepared and Upeja has sanctified cannot be thwarted." Yaja had then poured the oblation into the fire, and immediately there arose from the flames a god-like boy. Okay, so ritual complete. Yaja completed the further. "Come quickly, O queen, a son or daughter have now come for you. My body is made with perfumes. I am not ready to receive the sacrificial gift." Okay. So she said she cannot, and we can understand that we cannot. When we are doing yajna, we should be very clean. So she was knowing that she cannot take that. उसने कुछ तो मेकअप एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स कर रखा था, तो वो नहीं होना चाहिए था. ओके, तो ये जो रिप्लाइड. ओके, सो वेयर वी वर displaying all kinds of what happened. Okay, this is Yaja had then poured the oblation into the fire. Immediately there arose from the flames a god-like boy. He was encased in brilliant golden armor, and he shone like a fire. He wore a bright crown on his head and held a long bow and a sword. That youth was terrible to behold, and he rose from the fire roaring. Stepping clearly of the flames, he mounted the king's chariot and immediately rode about and displaying all kinds of skills. Okay, the people of Kampila had shouted with joy upon seeing this boy who would fulfill the king's desire and kill his enemy. As their cries of happiness resounded, a celestial woman appeared from the fire. Her complexion was dark and her smiling eyes were shaped like a lotus petal. Her long and curling hair was bluish in color, and it fell down her back as she emerged from the flames. She had rising breast and tapering thighs. At the end of her graceful fingers were nails and that shone like a bright copper. Okay, she's looking. Nowadays, robots has that kind of right blue hair and bluish color in hair. Okay, her body emanated the sweet fragrance of blue lotuses, which should be perceived at a distance of 2 miles. That divine woman captivated the mind of every man who saw her. She had no equal even among the gods or the Gandharvas. The ascetic, so now Draupadi has had come, and this is the description of Draupadi. So that's how she was. She looked like dark complexion, nails are like copper. Okay. The ascetic then told his attentive audience how a heavenly voice had spoken from the skies as soon as the boy and girl had appeared. Booming like a thunder, it had said, "This dark skinned beauty will be the best of all women, and she will be the cause of destruction of the world's warriors. The boy shall be called the Studumna, and he shall slay Drona." So Drona heard about this prophecy, and but considering destiny to be supreme, then he nevertheless agreed to train Draupada's son in martial arts. The noble Drona did this to repay Drupada for taking half his kingdom. So see how Dronacharya, what kind of character, like, can you imagine that the person know that he will kill me, but he is giving him a training. They just give me a minute. I'm coming. Hare Krishna. Sorry for disturbance. So कहाँ थे हम लोग? So noble Drona had did this to repay Drupada for taking half of his kingdom. Okay, so Drona understand, although he was knowing the prophecy, but still he helped Drupad's son, Drishtadyumna, to learn the martial arts, and he take it like repaying for his half kingdom because he took the half kingdom. The ascetic stopped, having heard that Drishtadyumna would kill their beloved teacher. The Pandavas felt as if their hearts had been pierced. Kunti saw their perplexity, and after they had retired for the night, said to Yudhishthira, "We have lived here for many months. I think it would be wise to leave now." तो ये सब सुनकर पांडवस को काफी प्रॉब्लम हुआ, क्योंकि उनको उनको वो जो मतलब एसेटिक्स को तो पता नहीं है कि ये पांडव्स हैं, वो तो ब्राह्मण्स हैं उनके लिए। और वो उनको बता रहा है कि जो ये उनको नहीं पता था एक्चुअली कि द्रुपद ने ऐसा कुछ किया है और दुष्टदुम्न आ चुका है। And Kunti saw there, okay, so I think it will be wise to leave now. You are all restless. I also sense that you desire to go to Panchala for Draupadi's Swambara. Okay, so Kunti had seen her son's eyes open wide when the ascetic had described Draupadi's celestial beauty. Okay, so therefore she suggested that they leave the next day for Panchala. All five brothers agreed to her proposal, and the following morning they made their farewells to the Brahmin and his family. Walking in a line with Kunti in their middle, they then headed towards Panchala, traveling again through the forest. On the first evening of their journey, as they sat around their fire Vyasdeva arrived. Okay. Upon seeing him, the Pandavas prostrated themselves at his feet. They then stood with their palms folded as Vyasdev offered them blessings. When everyone was seated, Vyasdeva said, "O conquerors of foes, are you following the path of virtue and joined in the scriptures? Do you worship the Brahmins? I hope you always honor those worthy of your respect." The rishi spoke for some time, giving the attentive princes various instructions. At the end of his discourse, Vyasdev told them that they should try to win the hand of the princess of Panchala. Her father was setting an archery test in order to find her qualified husband. Arjuna should enter the contest. Vyasdeva then stood up to leave, and after again receiving the obeisances from the Pandavas, vanished into the woods. Reassured by Vyasdev's directions, the brothers continued their journey the next day with joyous heart. They walked day they walked day and night, eager to arrive at Panchala in time for the Swayamvara. It was just by it was just after nightfall several days later when they came upon the gently flowing water of the Ganges. Arjuna was leading the party with a torch in his hand to light their way. They all bowed respectfully to the sacred river before walking along her banks, searching for a place to cross. Suddenly, from out of the darkness, they heard a loud voice, "Halt! Who dares approach this river at such a time? The night belongs to Yakshas, Gandharvas, and Rakshasas. Only during the first portion of night, the twilight time, are other being allowed to bath. You appear to be human beings, therefore return the way you have come." Okay. Suddenly from the out of the darkness. Only during the first portion of night, the twilight time, are others being allowed to bath. तो मतलब twilight time क्या होता है? तो किसी को पता है क्या? First portion of night 12 बजे तक होता है क्या? 9 से 12 ऐसा कुछ है? हरे कृष्णा है मेरा? हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण। आवाज आ रहा है मेरा?
हाँ प्रभु, आ रहे हैं, आ रहे हैं।
ओके, सब सो रहे हैं क्या? कोई आंसर नहीं कर रहा है। व्हाट हैपेंड?
So no, twilight time is before sunrise and after sunset is what is mentioned.
After sunset.
Sunset. So yeah, I just Googled. So it is mentioned that the time between sunrise and after sunset, in which the atmosphere is partially illuminated by the sun. So that is called twilight.
Before sunrise, after sunset. तो ये तो पूरी नाइट ही होगी ना?
Yeah, full night. So that's twilight. So
Who dares approach this river at such time? The night belongs to yakshas. यक्ष, गंधर्व और राक्षस, ये 3 लोगों को अलाउ होता है रात में, राइट? तो ये ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि ये 3 लोगों को स्नान करना अलाउ होता है, बट ओनली ड्यूरिंग द फर्स्ट पोर्शन ऑफ नाइट, द ट्वाइलाइट टाइम। फर्स्ट पोर्शन ऑफ नाइट क्या होता है? ट्वाइलाइट टाइम, आर अदर्स बीइंग अलाउड टू बाथ। फर्स्ट पोर्शन ऑफ नाइट, बड़ा लंबा आंसर है इसका तो।
yes, there's a lot of details are there.
And beginning of the night, it follows that the night is the period between sunset and sunrise. तो between sunset से sunrise तक के बीच में उसको तीन पार्ट में शायद डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा। तो उसका जो फर्स्ट पार्ट होता है उसमें फिर भी स्नान कर सकते हैं शायद, बट उसके बाद नहीं कर सकते। तो इसलिए हमको रात को नदी में नहाना नहीं चाहिए। आदुधरी प्रभु भी हमको यही बोलते थे कि वी शुड नॉट टेक बाथ इन द नाइट। जैसे इवनिंग सनसेट हो जाता है तो फिर तो स्नान नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि उस समय ये इन लोगों का अधिकार हो जाता है वहां पर। दे 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 सपोज टू डू। तो हर टाइम मतलब कहते हैं ना, कुछ कुछ समय जैसे जो 3 टाइम संध्या होती है उस समय भी नहीं करना चाहिए बहुत सारी चीजें।
नहीं तो सिद्धांत प्रभु, इज इट ओनली इन इन रिवर, और इज इट लाइक घर पे भी नहीं करना?
घर पर तो पता नहीं है मुझे, पर पहले तो सब लोग स्नान वैसे ही करते थे रिवर वगैरह में या पॉन्ड में। तो अब टैब तो होते नहीं थे पहले, तो अब तो टैब है। तो मेरे हिसाब से स्नान तो कर सकते हैं रात को अगर इमरजेंसी है तो, बट मतलब जनरली तो सनसेट के बाद सब सो जाते हैं, अगर कोई इमरजेंसी है तो कर सकते हैं शायद, मुझे पता नहीं है। एक बार अभिनव प्रभु ने अभिनव प्रभु को पूछा था कि मतलब उनको शायद शेविंग करना था या हेड शेव करना, कुछ तो बाल कटाने थे, तो रात का टाइम हो गया था, इवनिंग का, तो उन्होंने पूछा कि क्या किया जाए प्रभु जी, हम काट सकते हैं कि नहीं काट सकते, तो उन्होंने बोला कि काट सकते हो, मतलब अगर इमरजेंसी थी उस समय, क्योंकि नेक्स्ट डे हम काटने, शायद एकादशी था या कुछ था, ऐसा था कि वी कैन नॉट डू और अभी करना पड़ेगा, तो वो इसके लिए फिर उन्होंने बोला कि करके सीधे उसके बाद है ना, स्नान करके शायद करके स्नान करके सो जाओ, डोंट डू एनीथिंग एल्स, डोंट टच एनीथिंग एल्स, ऐसा कुछ बोला था, आई डोंट नो। तो ऐसा
अच्छा।
तो कर सकते हैं, इमरजेंसी में कर सकते हैं, बट मुझे लगता है जनरली नहीं करना चाहिए। और ये तो
So,
रिवर और पॉइंट्स, मतलब तालाब होते हैं या नदियाँ होती हैं, इवन इनको क्रॉस भी नहीं कर सकते रात के टाइम, तो या उसमें नहीं जाना चाहिए, और बहुत सारे।
नहीं, इसलिए नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि उस समय यक्ष और राक्षस लोग उसमें कर रहे होते हैं, इसलिए वी शुड नॉट लाइक इंटरफेयर इन देयर,
हाँ,
इसलिए।
यहाँ से तो
अच्छा।
यही लग रहा है कि मतलब वो तो है प्रभु, बहुत सारी चीजों पे उनका अधिकार हो जाता है, रात के टाइम पे ही सारी चीजें कर सकते हैं ना वो लोग, 3 बजे तक का टाइम होता है उनके पास, जैसे ब्रह्म मुहूर्त शुरू होने से पहले तक का टाइम होता है, तो तभी ये लोग सब एक्टिव हो जाती है, नेगेटिव एनर्जीज हैं जो भी, मतलब ये तो नेगेटिव नहीं है, एटलीस्ट ये लोग अंदर
बट
बढ़िया,
वो हमारे प्लेनेट में आके करते हैं, मतलब आई एम लिटिल नहीं, मतलब वो लोग तो अलग ही प्लैनेट्स में रहते हैं, तो दे
मतलब
कम
कहीं भी
डाउन
आ
तो।
सकते हैं, हाँ वो आ सकते हैं हमारे प्लैनेट्स में उस समय,
अच्छा अच्छा।
मतलब उनके लिए भी टाइमिंग है, उनके लिए भी, जैसे प्रेतों के लिए मैंने बताया था भोजन होता है, तो वो झूठा भोजन जो होता है या कोई भी ऐसा कंटेमिनेटेड प्लेसेस जितनी होती हैं उन पर उनका अधिकार होता है, वो आ सकते हैं उस जगह पे, तो इसलिए हमको कंटेमिनेटेड प्लेस अपने आसपास नहीं रखना चाहिए, कोई भी चीज़ जैसे झूठा मुंह नहीं रहना चाहिए, झूठे हाथ नहीं होने चाहिए, वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल, किचन में भी हमको ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि हमारे बर्तन झूठे ना रहें, हमारे बर्तन मतलब रात को सारे बर्तन मंजे हुए रहें, वरना ये सब चीज़ें नेगेटिव चीज़ों को आमंत्रित करती हैं, उनका अधिकार हो जाता है, मतलब दे आर,
अधिकार हो जाता है मतलब क्या, मतलब वो आके क्या करेंगे झूठे बर्तन
देन दे विल कम, दे विल ईट, भाई मतलब प्रेत आ सकते हैं, ये भूत प्रेत जो होते हैं उनको, भाई उनको तो वही खाना खा सकते हैं वो जो झूठा हो सकता है, कंटेमिनेटेड चीज को ही वो टच कर सकते हैं, उनको उसको ले सकते हैं जो,
में?
तो फिर
अच्छा।
उसमें इशू है कि वो एक्चुअल सही जो स्वच्छ चीज है उसको वो हाथ नहीं लगा सकते, जो कंटेमिनेट चीज है उसी को खा सकते हैं वो, उसी का मतलब उससे एनर्जी ले सकते हैं कुछ, आई डोंट नो वो प्रोसेस कैसे होता है, बट इट हैपेंस कि
तो
वो ऐसा,
मतलब एक बार उन्होंने कर लिया तो फिर देन इट बिकम्स लाइक कंटेमिनेटेड, देन इफ वी यूज देन वी विल गेट देयर,
हाँ
कुछ
फिर
ऐसा हो।
तो उसका तो होगा ही असर,
ओके।
तो इसलिए प्रयास करना चाहिए, जैसे बाल वाल हमारे कंटेमिनेशन का कारण होते हैं, तो बाल नहीं गिरना चाहिए खाना बनाते समय ही, मुंह से छूटा नहीं निकलना चाहिए, भगवान के लिए भोग लग रहा है तो बहुत ज़्यादा हमको तो उसमें तो फिर और ज़्यादा आपको ध्यान रखना पड़ता है, क्योंकि भगवान को भोग ही नहीं लग सकता, वो जिसका अधिकार होगा उसी को भोग लग सकता है, देवता तो कोई भी चीज़ कंटेमिनेट खा ही नहीं सकते, तो भगवान तो स्पिरिचुअल लेवल पे है, उसमें केवल कंटेमिनेशन की बात नहीं रह जाती, मतलब मटेरियली प्योर तो होना ही चाहिए, बट प्लस उसमें भाव भी होना चाहिए, भक्ति। तब भगवान स्पिरिचुअल पोटेंसी भी उसके अंदर, स्पिरिचुअल जो भाव है वो होना जरूरी है, देन ही विल एक्सेप्ट, मतलब कृष्णा तो उस स्तर पे काम हो रहा है, देवताओं के लिए एटलीस्ट अगर भाव भी नहीं है तो एटलीस्ट आपको मटेरियली और सटल लेवल पे जो क्लीनिनेस है उसका ध्यान रखेंगे आप, मतलब कोई बेकार विचार नहीं आना चाहिए मन में, और ग्रॉसली भी वो क्लीन होना चाहिए, तो देवताओं को आप अर्पण कर सकते हैं, मतलब लेफ्ट हैंड टच नहीं होना चाहिए, आप प्योरली प्योर मतलब स्नान करके आप कुछ और चीज को टच किए बिना आप किचन में जाते हैं, फिर किचन में स्वच्छता से साथ भोजन बना रहे हैं, तब जाके आप देवताओं को अर्पण कर पाएंगे, भगवान के लिए तो ये सारी चीजें तो होनी चाहिए, प्लस आपका भाव भी होना चाहिए, एज ए डिवोटी, डिवोशन के साथ आपको देना पड़ेगा, उसमें डिवोशन भी ऐड करना पड़ेगा, फिर देन यू कैन ऑफर टू कृष्णा, वरना वो भगवान तक तो पहुंचेगा। तो ऐसा ही है। तो ये सब चीजें हमको ध्यान रखनी पड़ेंगी। तो यहाँ पर ओके क्या हो रहा है कि अभी वो ये कोई आ गया है और a shining figure emerged from the waters, rose into the air, and descended onto a golden chariot. Clasping a huge bow he continued. The bow hand. He continued to address them in a thunderous voice. I am the Gandharva, Angara Parna, Parna, Angara Parna, Angara Parna. Okay, Angara Parna, friend of Kuvera, treasurer of the gods. I am bathing here. Not even the gods or demons would dare come to this river when I am bathing. How then have you humans been, been so bold? Leave quickly or I will kill you. I fear no one. तो ये तो भाई पूरी तरह से धमका रहे हैं पांडवों को। यहाँ से निकल जाओ नहीं तो मैं तुमको मार दूंगा और मुझे किसी का डर नहीं है। बोल रहे हैं ना कोई भगवान ना कोई डेमीगॉड्स ना मतलब कोई गॉड्स मतलब डेमीगॉड्स को बोल रहा है कोई देवता और राक्षस कोई भी नहीं आ सकता जब मैं यहाँ स्नान कर रहा हूँ। तो अर्जुन तो ओके ये एक्सपेक्टेड था। अर्जुन कुड नॉट टॉलरेट द गंधर्वस haughty speech. Oh wretch, rivers and mountains are never bare to anyone at any time. There is no such thing as a special time when we are not allowed to approach this sacred river. Nor do we care for your threats. Only the weak would fear someone like you. Make a way, because we are now going to bath in this river. तो अर्जुन एकदम जोश में आके बात कर रहे हैं हम। So Angarapan blazed with anger. He drew his bow and shot 100 arrows at the brothers. Arjuna moved with blinding speed and struck down all those shafts simply with the torch he was holding. Oh my god. मुझे लगा था ये कुछ ये भी धनुष उठाएंगे। तो यहाँ पर अर्जुन ने तो केवल अपनी टॉर्च जो जो वो होता है टॉर्च आप समझ रहे कौन सा टॉर्च है ये वो जो मशाल देखते हैं ना ये वो टॉर्च है क्योंकि उस समय लाइट वाला टॉर्च इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वाला टॉर्च नहीं होता था।
Yes, Prabhuji.
तो ये मशाल वाला टॉर्च है और ही वाज होल्डिंग उसी से उन्होंने उसके सारे जो जितने भी उसने तीर फेंके थे उनको हटा दिया। ओके ही लाफ्ड एट गंधर्वा डू नॉट अटेम्प्ट टू फ्राइटन दोज हु आर स्किल्ड इन वॉरफेयर योर वेपन्स सिंपली वैनिश लाइक फ्रोथ ऑन द ओशियन व्हेन हर्ल्ड एट मोर पावरफुल ओपोनेंट्स। O Sky Ranger, I know you are superior to men in prowess. Therefore, I shall use celestial missiles against you. The fire weapon I will now discharge was first given to Bharadwaj by Brahaspati. Bharadwaj then gave it to Agni Vaishya, who gave it to my prospector Drona. Drona gave it to me. Guard yourself from its power if you can. तो अब अर्जुन बोल रहे हैं कि भाई चलो मैं सेलेस्टियल वेपन्स का यूज करूंगा। Chanting the incantations to invoke the Agneya Astra, Arjuna imbued his torch with his tremendous power. Angrily he ओके तो यहाँ पर उन्होंने धनुष नहीं उठाया ये केवल मंत्र से उसने अपने ही उसी टॉर्च में उसको इन्वोक कर दिया अस्त्र को। तो ये भी हमको समझना होगा हमेशा धनुष की और बाण की जरूरत नहीं है केवल मंत्र से ही चला रहे हैं। सो एंगरली ही थ्रूड इट एट अंगरपर्णा and his chariot was immediately destroyed, burned black. The Gandharva fainted from the missile's force and fell headlong from the smoking chariot. Arjuna seized him by his hair, oh my God, which was adorned with garlands of flowers, and dragged him before Yudhishthira. Suddenly, a celestial woman rushed out of the water and approached Yudhishthira. Folding her palms, she said, O exalted one, I am Kumbhi Nashi, Angarparna's wife. Please bestow your mercy upon me and set him free. I seek your protection. The Gandharva came to his senses and sat up before Yudhishthira, who said to him, O Gandharva, who would slay one who has been vanquished in battle, who stands deprived of his fame, who is unable to protect himself, who is being protected by a woman, you may go. Angaparna stood and offered his respect to Yudhishthira. He spoke with humility. My pride has been crushed by your younger brother. My celestial chariot lies burned to ashes. I had been known as a Chitra, Chitraratha, one of the beautiful chariot. But from now I shall call myself Dagda, Dagdaratha, he of the burnt chariot. Angaparna thanked Arjuna for not killing him, even though able. In return for Arjuna's mercy, Angaparna offered him the divine knowledge possessed by the Gandharva, along with a team of celestial horses. Smiling, Angaparna said, this knowledge, known as Chakshushi, will give you the ability to see anything within the three worlds, along with the thing's intrinsic nature. It is this knowledge that gives the Gandharvas the power that make them superior to men. तो अभी इन्होंने तो इनको चक्षुषी दे दिया है अर्जुन को यहाँ से ये पावर मिल गया है कि ये बहुत सारी चीजों को देख सकते हैं तीनों तीनों वर्ल्ड में इंट्रिंसिक नेचर का मतलब है आई थिंक इंट्रिंसिक नेचर का मतलब होता है ना वो इंटरनल चीजों को भी देख सकते हैं जो दिखाई नहीं देती सटल चीजों को भी देख सकते हैं और बोल रहे हैं कि जो गंधर्वों को ह्यूमन से ऊपर बनाती हैं वो पावर अब अर्जुन के पास उनको दे दिया है इन्होंने Angaparna waved his hand towards the river bank, and the Pandavas saw there a group of lustrous white sea steeds. These are the horses I wish to give you. They will go anywhere at their owner's will. They are said to be a portion of Indra's thunderbolt and will always unfailingly fulfill your desire. तो इनको horses भी दे दिए. Arjuna said, O Gandharva, if you desire to give your knowledge and these horses in return for your life, then I shall not accept them. It was my duty to release you on my brother's order. I cannot accept charity, for that is never the duty of the ruling classes. Okay. अर्जुन क्षत्रिय हैं तो वो चैरिटी नहीं ले सकते चैरिटी देना उनका काम है लेना नहीं So Angaparna smiled again. This need not to be charity. O best of the Bharata race, I desire to learn from you how to throw the fire weapon which you used to overpower me. Okay. तो अभी उन्होंने exchange of knowledge कर लिया. तो Arjuna agreed to his action on this action, but said he first wanted to know why the Gandharva had challenged him and his brothers, although they were all virtuous men, learned in Vedas and born in noble line of kings. That the Gandharva replied, O Arjuna, I have heard from the Narad Rishi of your ancestors' great accomplishment. I also know your fathers personally because Dharma, Vayu, Indra, and the Ashwini, and even Pandu all reside in heaven. तो वो इनके सारे फादरों को सबको जानते थे मतलब जो भी देवता से ये लोग आए हैं और इवन पांडु वो भी अभी हेवन में है तो although I knew you are all high souled virtuous powerful and obedient to your vows I nevertheless censored you no man possessed of strength and arms ought to tolerate a confrontation in front of his wife I was overpowered by wrath ओके तो उनकी वाइफ के सामने वो उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाए Angaparna went on to explain why Arjuna had been able to defeat him although he was a celestial because you have been observing a vow of celibacy O hero your power became insurmountable if a warrior engaged in satisfying his desire fights with the Gandharvas at night he will not escape with his life If desirous fights with the Gandharvas at night, he will not escape with his life. Okay, so अर्जुन क्यों जीत गए क्योंकि celibacy का power था उनके पास. Okay, so he was performing celibacy. That's why he was able to defeat him. So Angaparna said that even a warrior who is not celibate could not defeat a powerful enemy if he is accompanied by a Brahmin's priest. The Gandharva concluded, man with learned and self-controlled priest uh, can conquer the earth and acquire every good fortune, finally attain even heaven itself. Therefore, a descendant of Tapati, you should seek out a qualified priest as your guide. तो उनको बता रहे हैं कि आपके पास एक गाइड और होना चाहिए. Brahmin. Arjuna was listening carefully. He was curious that Angaparna addressed him as a descendant of Tapti. He asked, as a son of Kunti, we are known as the Kaunteyas. Why did you address us as Tapatyas? I have not heard this before. It was a long story. Angaparna invited the brothers to sit comfortably on the river bank while he recited the history of their descendant ancestor Tapati, daughter of the sun god. Tapti had descended from the heavens and married Samavarna, an early king in the Pandavas line. The Gandharva narrated this history along with many other incidental stories. He spoke for much of the night, and the enthralled brothers could see the first faint glow of dawn when he finished his narration. Arjuna then said to him, Gandharva, you know everything and can see everything by your divine sight. Please tell us where we can find a Brahmin who knows the Vedas and can become our priest. Angaparna replied that not far from there was a forest ashram called Utkashaka. A Brahmin named Dhaumya, the younger brother of the famous Rishi Devala, are resided there. They should approach him and ask that he become their preceptor. Seeing the Gandharva's friendship toward them, great and grateful for his advice, Arjuna gave him the mantra by which he could call the Anganeya Astra. In return, Angarparna again offered him the horses. Arjuna replied, I will not take anything from you now. I do not desire your knowledge. We cannot take the horses at present. O best of Gandharvas, your friendship is sufficient. Perhaps if a time comes when we need these steeds, we shall then take them. Angaparna and the Pandavas saluted one another respectfully and took their leave. The Gandharva and his wife disappeared into the sky, leaving the Pandavas to continue on their journey. After Angaparna left, the Pandavas went north along the bank of the Ganges towards where the Gandharva had indicated they would find the Dhaumya ashram. The sun had risen, and they could now see many rishis bathing in the river, wearing a single piece of cloth and with their matted lock tied in knots on their heads. The brothers could hear the sages reciting sacred hymns from the Vedas, some in praise of the sun god Surya, some worshipping Shiva, the mighty destroyer, and the others praying to the supremely powerful Lord Vishnu. The Pandavas took their own bath in the Ganges using the sacred clay from the river bank, and they daubed their bodies with marking that showed them to be a Vaishnavas, devotees of Vishnu. Kunti entered the water fully clothed, and then changed her dress in a secluded place. She thought constantly of Krishna and praying that he would help them through their difficulties. The sages told the brothers where to find Dhaumya hermitage. They then approached Dhaumya and fell at his feet. Yudhishthira said, O greatly learned one, we are Pandu's sons, traveling with our mother Kunti. On the Gandharva's advice, we seek your shelter. Please become our guide and protector, and we are your servants. If the effulgent Dhaumya smiled and bade them to be seated, and his disciples brought them offering of wild fruits and water. As he looked upon the five young princes and the gentle Kunti, the rishi felt affection rise in his heart. He could see that they worshipped Vishnu, his own deity, and this too attracted him. Therefore, he consented to become their priest. The Pandavas were overjoyed and felt as if their wealth and kingdom had already been regained, and Draupadi warned Dhaumya then formally accepted them as a disciple by initiating them with Vedic mantras. Okay. The many sages in Dhaumya's ashram offered the princes their blessings. Seeing such godlike boys, the rishis felt that the brothers, by their own accomplishment, would soon become rulers of the earth. Okay, accompanied by Dhaumya, the Pandavas continued on their journey to Panchala. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we can stop here. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.